Well, I'm not in my usual studio space today, as you can see, but I'm trying to keep to a little bit of a schedule with these videos, and I thought I would answer a question today that um, it's a good one, and it's a common one. And the question is about building your own vocabulary versus or copying vocabulary from others, so aka transcribing. And the question is, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit here from Patrick, about how much time do you spend absorbing the vocabulary of other players, versus creating your own. I think I have that more or less correct, right? How much time do you spend transcribing or working on copying, playing someone else's vocabulary, trying to internalize it, versus creating your own? And the answer is well, I don't want to say it depends, because it doesn't exactly depend, but it's both, and it's a balance, is the truth. I think if you're not doing any bit of studying other people's vocabulary, you're not doing that process at all, you're shortchanging yourself of the value of wisdom, the hard work that the people before you have done, the masters of this music, right? So conversely, I knew somebody once in my journey who transcribed a player so much that we often would laugh at how much this guy sounded like the person he was copying. You know, it was comical. It was like so good on one hand, like, wow, that's amazing that he can sound like so-and-so. On the other hand, it was sort of like, well, okay, but that person already existed. What are you going to do with your talent? Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent, but the point is, first and foremost, don't worry about transcribing anybody too much if the fear is that you're going to end up sounding like them. You won't sound like them. In fact, I love to bring this up. My friend Ruslan told me once about a video he saw. Now, I still haven't seen this video, so if anybody knows where this is, please leave it in the comments below. But he told me about seeing Oscar Peterson accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award. And then during that, Oscar Peterson was maybe nearly in tears, saying, you know, whatever it is you think, thank you for this award, and whatever it is you think I am is just my failure to sound like Art Tatum, his big hero. I love that. Even if it's not true, it is true. It's true to me. I can think of that personally. Like, wow, so many of the ways that I play, the things that I do, that I sound like, at least in my mind, are perhaps the result of me trying and quote unquote trying to copying and failing to sound identical to some of my idols. You know, in the process of reaching and trying and absorbing, you end up finding your own vocabulary, your own way. So, you know, folks who are in the Stablemate studio this month, obviously, you know, we're working on some really cool Joshua Redman phraseology, let's say, some language. But the whole process of breaking that down is about identifying it, you know, sort of extracting it, deconstructing it, absorbing it, reconstructing it, and then practicing applying it. And in that process, in that circular process, it becomes less about like, which one do you do? And it's all of them. It's all of that together. And you then absorb, you learn so much. You go, oh, that's so cool how that sounds. And then you go, oh, I see where he or she is doing that. Oh, that makes sense. And something clicks. And then you have this little kernel, this little nugget that then you can take and move forward in your own way. And you start to play with it. And it's not so much about putting it all in 12 keys. I generally don't love that. That instruction. I mean, it's hard to talk in generalities here, because look, from person to person, student to student, individual to individual, I would give different advice at different stages. So you have to take all of this, everything that you hear anybody's talking about, with a grain of salt. I'm just here to offer my perspective. So should you put everything in 12 keys? I would take the word everything out. Lots of things are good to put in 12 keys. Certain things are absolutely you must do in all 12 keys. Other things, it's not a 12 key operation all of the time, and you're not necessarily doing yourself any favors by getting stuck in that lane. There can be better approaches. But again, bit of a tangent. To the original question, how much time do you spend absorbing the language of others versus creating your own language? I would say that the more time you spend really absorbing the language of others, the more opportunities you give yourself for creating your own language.